nuts. And he's
crispy,
got the off-the-ball attributes that Jorginho doesn't have, which is why you needed a Jorginho and you needed Enzo. So Enzo has the license to roam. And then this is why I look at Potter and I'm thinking, how do I know this shit and you don't?
Yeah.
No, we had no 6 in the squad now. Our only 6, you sold him for what, 6 months? 6 months left on his deal and you wanted 12 mil. Was that really worth it? Because now we're bringing on Gallagher to kill off games.
You've got so much money, you would have been better off just letting him go for free in the summer.
Literally. And then he would have gone abroad or somewhere. He would have gone back to... I wouldn't have to watch him at Arsenal balling out every week, partly helping them win the title. They have to see Jorginho trophy picks. All because Potter thought it's a win-win-win for all parties when we have no DM.
Yeah,
and our fan base celebrated it. I saw Jorginho leaving parties on Twitter. And then I see vent spaces a few days afterwards because we've been battered by Fulham at home. Oh,
yeah, but this is the problem, though. This is the problem with the Twitter culture and the modern fan culture. Yeah, it's like every fan base now has their list of scapegoats, innit? And Jorginho just became one for Chelsea. Like, yeah, and to a certain extent, yeah. At the beginning, he was starting to become that for Arsenal straight away. Like, a lot of Arsenal fans were just waiting. Like, anytime something goes wrong, all right, we're gonna blame Jorginho, innit? You know, like that.
And Chelsea, they conceded to Everton that one time.
Yeah, let's blame Jorginho. And that's it. And this is exactly what it is. Because a lot of these players, yeah, that typically like Jorginho, that lack in the physical attributes, they're always the guys that get blamed, bruv. Like, it's at every club. You know, like that's at my club as well.
For why our play was so slow. And it's like, I get it. There's times where Jorginho's way too slow in possession. But Kovacic, he's not slow on the ball at times. Yeah, he is. Ruben, the same thing. Kante, the same thing. They all don't have great final balls. All of them. Mason Mount's final ball, joke. Havertz, a joke. Anyone centrally at that point was just slow as hell in general. So it wasn't just a Jorginho problem, but he was the one that's been scapegoated. It's just player stands. Like I've said for a minute, I despise player stands and people who will pick a player over the club and try and value them and say that they're being held back by others and just centers the whole focus of the club on an individual. Because it's a team. It should be about the club first, not about individuals. But 100%. We've gone into this sort of player stand mentality over the last year or two or something. I'm going to invest stocks in this person. I'm going to invest stocks in this person. And then you're going to ride that horse until it's dead. And then people get at me and then they call me a flip-flop only because I'll praise a player when they play well. And if they poorly, I'll criticize them.
But that's what you're supposed to do, bro.
For praising Havertz against Dortmund. Like, he was brilliant against Dortmund. I'm vindicated because I've spent the last year demanding that. I haven't seen him play like that since Porto. Yet people want to come into my ear every single time and just say, oh, he's been brilliant, he's been good, while they've been having mid-performances for the last year. I'm not watching that. Problem. Whenever Havertz plays like crap for a run of games, some idiot on Twitter will post a UCL final comp and be like, oh, this is what he can do. This is what he... Well, why don't you do it? Simple as, why don't you do it? It's your job. Do it.
No, you're right. But this is the problem, though. It's like, if you're consistent, yeah, with your criticism of a player, yeah, most of the time, then you've got an agenda. Do you know what I mean? If you change your opinion because they start playing well, then you're flip-flop. Do you know what I mean? That, bro, you cannot win in this society. You cannot win, yeah. Do you know what I mean? If you stick to your guns, it's an agenda. If you're balanced, do you know what I mean? Like I try to be with players. Do you know what I mean? And I've been like that with Luke Shaw, Rashford. Do you know what I mean? When these guys start to play a bit better, I'll give them the praise, and then all of a sudden, oh, I thought you hated him. Bro, I don't hate any player, bro. I just want my team to win, innit? And if a man's playing shit, I'll say he's playing shit, bro. You know, like that. Chelsea, if he's playing well, say he's playing well.
For you, it's United first, club first, players second. I don't have loyalty to these players because it's all a money-orientated business anyway. I'm putting money into this team. I'm a season ticket holder. If I want to say something about a player, I'll fucking say it. I don't care. I don't owe anything to these players. I was here before all of them were at Chelsea. I will be here after all of them have left. Same thing for you with United. Same thing for everybody. But they'll say that you're an agenda merchant if you go after players who are constantly holding your team back. I've been saying an agenda is solely something that someone else doesn't agree with, because it's an opinion. It's just an opinion that someone else don't agree with. Because if it wasn't that, if it was something you'd all agree with, it wouldn't be an agenda. It wouldn't be construed so negatively. They want to make you sound negative because your opinions about a certain player of the club is negative.
Yeah,
and it's just a load of bollocks. And it comes back to player stands. Stand mentality. That's why it needs to die. That's why it needs to get out of my club, your club, most clubs. When you value a player over the club, you are a problem in the fan base, because you're making the player more important than the football club. We see it with Mount. We see it with Havertz. I've seen it happen with so many players. I've watched Hazard for 7 years. His first year at Chelsea, he got like double-digit goals and assists, about 38 GNA in his first season. That's a generational talent. And now you want to flex Havertz, who can't do 10 league goals a season. Mason Mount, who can't do over 11.
Facts.
Like, what are we doing?
Facts. But this is what it is. But these stands are. But this is why I ain't on Twitter no more, bro. Because I remember there was a good old days here, bro. Like, bro, like the reason why I got so many followers on Twitter is because I remember back in the day I used to watch football matches, and I used to just do like, before I was doing watch-alongs, man used to just tweet during games and just like little commentary and that, and my Twitter was buzzing and all that. And then when you see the amount of wasters here that are just on that app, just faceless, just chatting shit, I'm like, bro, like I don't need this kind of energy. Like I don't need this kind of energy in my atmosphere at all. These guys they're lifeless, bro. Like these guys are literally, I'm seeing man are popping up with faces of other players, yeah, and trying to cook you. And I'm like, hold on, bro, like, what are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? And then they say you have an agenda when these guys have the biggest agendas, yeah, like known to man. Literally, these are the guys that will go missing for 3 months when their favorite players playing shit, and then their player scores, and then they'll be in my here with a clipped video from 3 years ago saying rants in the mud. What?
Literally, bruv, they will keep bookmarks on everything. I remember Havertz against Dortmund, right? I put a tweet out saying, I've been his biggest critic this season, but what a performance that was from Havertz. Because you know what? Fair play. I've criticized him all season. He was unbelievable. I'll give him credit where it's due. I got like a bunch of comments saying, hold. Bruv, this has been our biggest win of the season, right? The highest point that we've had under Graham Potter. And the first thing that you have thought of is your meaty little player agendas. Hold that. My team's just won. What am I holding?